On today's episode, we're talking allergies, peanuts, dairy, eggs. How do we let kids be kids but still keep them safe?
Parenting ain't harrowing, demanding or traumatic. Let's face facts, moms say that when they're not this good at it. Step aside, ladies, give your babies to a Carol Brady level matriarch. The only hard part of it is how hard I'll hit this when I knock it out of the park. Your hands, raise them up. Your glass, raise it up. Low expectations, raise them up. Your children, I'm gonna raise them up. It's instinctual, I'm a natural, I'm tireless, multitaskical. My mom games a flame and it'll burn eternal. Damn, I'm so maternal. So maternal. So maternal. So maternal. Tommy Lunch.
You're listening to Mom Time Daily, and we're so honored to have Supermom Rebecca Bunch here on our podcast today. Rebecca, you are one of the most incredible moms I have ever seen, even though you don't have any children and you've only been babysitting for less than an hour. How do you do it?
First of all, I want to say what an honor it is for you to have me on your podcast. You know, I guess I just instinctively get how to be a mom, and that's what sets me apart from other mothers.
Agreed. Other mothers are losers.
Yes. Gonna keep them warm, gonna keep them safe, gonna keep their homework free of mistakes. If the kid gets hungry, I'll feed his face. A real wholesome meal, piece of cake. Here, have a piece of cake.
If you shut the door,
Five.
Huey will enter.
5-6. Pick up sticks. Pick up sticks.
7, 8, 8, 8.
Lay them straight.
Or queer, inclusive.
Lay those sticks gay.
Bisexual sticks.
Poly sticks.
Ethical non-monogamy.
Ethical slut.
Polysecure sticks. 9, 10. Big fat
Count
hen.
again. Count again.
Count again. I think for us it was big fat hen.
Oh, wow. That's a regionalism.
Yeah.
The difference between city mouse and country mouse.
Oh my god, we should call ourselves that from now on. That is so cute.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm country mouse.
And I'm city mouse.
Hey, and I'm city mouse.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm eating cheesy. Well, you know, the difference between city mouse and country mouse. You know, I'm eating like a big wheel of cheese, you know, and I'm rolling it all over. We play with it and we eat it. But you, city mouse, you're eating fine cheeses on fine pieces. Nice crackers. The nice crackers from the grocery store.
Yeah. I made a cheese board this weekend.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it was
That's a nice little treat.
It was a hard goat cheese. So I was able to eat it, which was nice.
It was a hard goat cheese.
It was tough. It was touch and
go there for a minute.
It was a tough cheese. Especially to cut. Cutting that cheese, tough. For everyone around.
Yeah, because you were in like a cabin.
Yeah, I
locked in with those goat farts.
I actually did wake myself up with a fart. On the trip.
Like a dog or
yeah,
a baby.
like I woke up at 9:30 by waking myself up with a fart, scared myself, and then was like, I need to go back to sleep. But I remembered in my brain, I was like, make sure you apologize to this person who's sharing a room with you that you've never met. And then that anxiety made its way into the dream, turned into a nightmare, and then when I had to re-enter the space, I had to be like, hey, Sky, my new friend, I farted at 9:30 a.m. and
as the crow calls, as the cock a doodle doo, so did I let one rip.
And I don't think you even noticed it, but then it became part of my brain.
As the sun rose, so did the gas from my anus.
And I had to tell you this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love stress dreams. I love the way that our feelings work our way into our dreams. I almost never remember my dreams.
That doesn't surprise me.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, let's circle back to that.
Okay.
But the only times I do are these dreams that I have that are like horrible social nightmares.
Yeah.
And all of my dreams, the only ones I ever remember, it's never a dream where I'm like, you know, making out with some hottie with the body. It's always like, oh no, I've committed a horrible social sin against someone that I know, and I'm now being ostracized from society.
Yo, mine very similar.
And then I wake up and I think the dream was real for a little bit, and I have to sit there, and I'm like, God, how am I going to walk this one back? And then I slowly remember, like, okay, that didn't actually happen, but then I still feel the residual social sin when I see that person say an Instagram story, when I encounter them in public. So now we have this whole backstory history, like the characters Sync and Wolverine from the X-Men comics.
I feel like I texted you recently that I was like, I woke up shaking from a nightmare, and you were in it. I don't remember anything about it.
You were there, and you were there too. Now, why don't you think I remember my dreams? I'm just curious what it is about me.
I don't think there's anything I would say that you would, like, agree with it. I don't think it really matters. That's my impression.
Fair enough. I'm just curious. I just, when there's such a strong reaction to something so specific, I just really want to know, like, if there is an interiority behind it. But sometimes it is just a feeling.
Yeah, I think the way you process the world around you, it makes sense that you don't remember.
Undreamlike.
Not undreamlike.
Nose to the grindstone.
It just feels like it gets, like, suppressed into some weird space that you can't see. And you have such, like, a rich imagination media world.
Thank you so much.
That it would either be you have really elaborate filmy dreams, or you have no dreams.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. My dreams are up on the silver screen. I don't need to have them when I'm asleep.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I'm watching Hirokatsu Korieda's Afterlife.
Yeah, like, I mean, I wish that you had really... But it's also a curse to have really colorful dreams like I do. I've had entire musical dreams.
Wow. Composed,
choreographed, staged, everything. But I can't write music, and I wake up and it's gone.
And you can't, you know, it never greets your pen.
No.
It's like that. I am sorry to invoke this particular series of books, but it's like that scene in one of the Harry Potter books where Harry has this huge prophetic dream that essentially tells him everything that he needs to do for the rest of the book. And then the next sentence is, and then Harry woke up and forgot. Yeah.
I feel like I have those a lot, actually.
Big bummer. Sorry to have evoked it, but it's such a strong reading memory of mine.
I don't mind talking about Harry Potter. When you talk about Harry Potter, I'm afraid of bringing up Harry Potter around you.
Because I'm going to be weird about it.
Yeah, and I'm also weird about it, but...
We're weird about it in different ways.
In different ways, yeah.
Because you're like, this is such a personal part of my life, and like I feel personally betrayed by the person who brought this rich world to you.
I have 2 Harry Potter tattoos.
Exactly, and I come at Harry Potter from like, everyone please read something else. Yeah. Everyone please think of something else to do.
I'm like, read something else, but also like, I am a trans person that came into my transness through Harry Potter, so that sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating story, though.
It is, and it's not an uncommon one either, which is what's frustrating. My master theory, which is controversial, so I already came pre-canceled if you're listening to the pod for the first time. I'm already, like, pre-canceled.
That's the way to be. That's how you fucking do it.
So you can't go... Yeah, if you don't like it, turn it off. I hate when comedians are like that, but that's how I feel about this. And,
and if you're fucking triggered...
Hashtag triggered. I feel, controversial take, that J.K. Rowling is a closeted trans man.
Oh, a classic.
The same way that, like, really homophobic, like, right-wing priests are often uncovered.
Of course.
But when I say this around queer people sometimes, they rightfully are like, I hate that rhetoric. Like, I hate the idea that all, like, bad this are
of course. And
this.
It is not true that all of them are.
Correct.
However, a lot of them are.
A lot of them are, and I do think that's icky, but... And I don't think there's anything that she could do to amend it, but I think it makes most sense in my brain if I think about it that way.
Absolutely.
I think about it in the same way that I think about closeted homophobic priests. Unfortunately, she just has a huge platform and a really beautiful imagination. So
true. To imagine the life of an entire world of magic as essentially just London and regular boarding school. But... And I know everyone who turned into the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend podcast wants to hear about this following topic, but it's like the huge contingent of people who are convinced there is a, like, worldwide pedophilic conspiracy, and how many of those people who never shut up about how all these other famous people are pedophiles often end up having been pedophiles themselves. And it's this mental impulse where, like, they have these pedophilic thoughts, so they assume everyone else is also having these pedophilic thoughts. And if they're having these pedophilic thoughts and not acting on them, there must be a vast number of people who are having these thoughts and are acting.
I've lost the plot, though. How did we get from A to B to C?
Closeted people enacting their blah, 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 blah.
Yes, okay. It brought me into a memory, which is also sort of just very, very tangential. I didn't know about QAnon stuff, and then I was introduced to, the first seed was planted about, that pedophilia plot of QAnon. I didn't know it existed, so I had this really...
Until when?
I had this really strange interaction, I think it was summer 2020, where because I guess the capital was the beginning of 2021.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, so it was summer 2020 when I was doing my road trip, and I went with my friend John to a taco place in Southern California, which is known for being a liberal part of the country, but there's a bubble of it that has Trumpers, and this was leading up to the 2020 election, of which we didn't know who was going to win yet, and
we still don't.
And we'll never know. And there were these two guys having an argument when we pulled up to this taco place. Mm-hmm. And one was in favor of Trump, and we were immediately kind of sus. Both were anti-mask, and this was pre-vax. So both were really against going into this taco shop with a mask. So they both started saying hateful, racisty things towards the people who were working there.
But of course.
But then they got into a separate fight that was something Trump versus Biden pedophile. There was just, and I had never heard the
anything about it,
the QAnon through line, and so it was weird because both of these people were anti-masks or maskers, but one was
I mean, right? It takes all kinds. You could be anti-mask, but not be QAnon.
But it came so seamlessly into conversation.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, wait, I'm missing something. And then we finally started doing our research.
Well, yeah. So I know a lot about this stuff because
Twitter.com.
Certainly helps. Also, a lot of left-wing podcasts that I listen to that specifically investigate this sub-community in a sort of documentarial perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think documentarial is a word, but I said it anyway.
No, it is. We coined it here.
Yeah, right here. We ourselves are documentarial, and I'll say it again.
I have a master's.
And I don't. So I don't have a master's. You're so smarticle.
I'm just a city mouse.
You're educated. Exactly.
I'm just saying, if I say you coined it, then
it counts. But don't you take advantage of a simple country folk like me, coin that word, make a lot of profit.
That's a great point.
Okay, thank you. But I know a lot about that stuff. But there have been many instances with regular people in my life where a person will come up, or I'll make a joke about some of this stuff, and they'll go, "What?" And I go, I'm not going to be the person to, tell you about that. I'm not going to ruin your life. Yeah. If you have existed this long, not knowing about all of this stuff, unless you, specifically ask it of me, I'm not going to ruin your life. It's not actually important that you know this.
I think there are things in my life that I probably hold the same space. Not quite QAnon, but definitely some weird shit where I'm actually better you don't know. Better you be protected from this. Speaking of protecting innocent voices, how about those two crazy ex-girlfriend episodes we just watched?
Now, Kat.
Yes, Kevin. Are you going to sing us a little song?
City Mouse?
You've been...
Yeah, I guess I keep forgetting to do it. Here
we go.
I'm being
And
in
one,
improv.
and
This is
a two,
called pimping.
and a 1, 2, 3, go.
I'm just a city mouse. I have a little straw house.
That's a country
It's
house.
made out of... Oh, yeah, I've said the wrong word.
You got it.
That's what you get from a country turd. I mix up words all the time. I can't even make them rhyme. Except there, well, I messed that up too. Just shows you what education can do.
What education can do. Button.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then that's when you go, da.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
That's
Every
what-
song should end with jazz hands. Every song should begin with someone going, well, I'll tell you. And every song should end with jazz hands.
Absolutely agree.
Every song should be pimped into by someone saying like,
Well, I tell you.
well, I'll tell you.
And then
Every song
everyone
should
goes
be
in.
like, well, that's Skimbleshanks. And be like, who's Skimbleshanks? And be like, well, I'll tell you.
That's a rum tum tugger. Just
Rum tum tugger.
only in cats. I guess.
No, everything.
Okay.
No, everything. Shucked. Should be in shucked.
Well,
I think Country Mouse would fit right in on shucked.
who's Alexander Hamilton, you say? Well, I'll tell you. It does it, and then it ends with jazz hands. Alexander Hamilton. Bwah. That bwah is just
Alexander Hamilton. I have to say it again.
Just say it as faggy as possible. I can say that.
You can say it. I guess I technically can too, but I don't
I
want
know.
to.
I feel like it walks the line.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yes, these episodes. So what I was going to say before I was pimped was, I love this show.
Yeah, you like. Yeah.
I really do.
I don't think you'd be doing this.
One of my absolutely.
Yeah.
You're correct.
And you wouldn't be doing this also.
I would never have a podcast about a TV show I didn't like.
And you wouldn't do this a year later, over a year after you've had COVID when you rewatch.
When I watched it for the first time, we've crossed the 1 year Rubicon. Yes,
Absolutely.
I am now into. We're actually venturing into 14 months post COVID. Can you imagine?
Brave.
However, as we recorded last episode, and as we are recording this episode, our little show's in a little bit of a slump. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is in it's in a flop era at this current moment. At this current time, I think the plot lines are stagnating. I think since Greg has left,
Oh yeah.
we've been spinning some wheels like a little mouse. And we desperately need an injection of new energy and new conflict into this television show, and maybe it takes the form of like a 6'3" new boss in the law office. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
I forgot about that sexy guy.
I'm spitballing here. It really needs a new sexy guy because these plot beats have fucking potholes in them. Like the point, like they're so old and unkempt for.
Yeah, you know that guy kind of reminds me of. It's a very Joel McHale. It's a very
very Joel McHale.
Yeah, like
100%. Which is an energy I of course love.
Yeah. It's one that's like it's a temptress for me.
I love on a TV show, mind you.
Right.
I love a black suit, well-educated, slick hair. I don't care about your feeling, like kind of.
Douchebag.
I think it's an important energy in a TV environment. It is one of the most crucial characters a TV show can have.
Yeah, but also that has daddy issues.
Always.
Gotta have daddy issues, and it's gotta be the driving thing.
And he's a womanizer, but he finds someone who wants to cut through all that.
Yeah, and it's very like, will they, won't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the perfect supplement to the Greg and the Nick from New Girl and the
100%.
You need the like douchey community.
You need the other guy. You need a Schmidt in a New Girl style scenario.
Yeah.
100%. It's an important TV archetype. Now, this is not a person I want to hang out with socially.
No, but I'm also drawn to them because I see them in media, and so I'm like, maybe I would enjoy, because there was a person in my life that was that. And
Jesus.
It was Jesus Christ. It was Jesus
There's a
Christ
person in my
himself.
life.
Nay, a son of God. And
lo, he descended upon mankind.
I really roasted Jesus this weekend, actually.
Like over an open flame.
No.
Like sort of stuck an apple in his mouth and turned him over and over again.
Oh, that's so fuck. Yeah, it was Easter. It wasn't Easter.
It wasn't Easter. We didn't record in the month of Easter.
You have no idea when we recorded this.
You sure don't.
Yeah. Well,
You don't know what May 1st it is. Maybe it's May 1st of last year.
I don't practice April, so I feel like it feels right that April was not on
You're
the books.
agnostic?
I'm agnostic, yeah. I don't think the word smithing is on my tongue tonight. Roasted Jesus. Wait, before that, there was a guy in my life.
There was a guy in your life who was somewhat adjacent to a future character
Yes,
on Great Days
anyway,
Golfing.
he's...
Or Jeff Winger or Schmidt.
He's unfortunately, like, really, really Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok famous now.
Oh.
But it's still not that funny. But he held that energy for a shorter guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like 5'10", but he gives like 5'8" energy or less. Anyway,
I just think it's an important archetype. It's, again, not someone I want to see socially.
that's, yeah.
But I don't have to want to have characters on TV be my real, actual friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want them to be entertaining on the box that I watch for fun.
I think I just like throw them so much like, because like, I think there's still a part of me that's like, I want your approval, this archetype.
100%. I
Yeah.
understand that, especially given your problematic, cancelable background. But it's like, listen, on Gossip Girl, the best show of all time, peak TV, I don't want to hang out with any of these people, but I love watching them get up to hijinks.
You don't want to hang out with anyone from Gossip Girl?
Not a single person, actually.
That's actually a great point.
I'm talking about the OG Gossip Girl. I haven't seen the new one. Maybe they're all very relatable and would be fun to hang out with.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
I gotta go. Dan, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta go. I didn't realize what you were doing for a sec.
Well,
it's
it's
so funny.
I wanted to be her so bad.
And you... I wanted to be the least interesting character on Gossip Girl.
People would tell me that I looked like her, and
You're
that
blonde.
because I was blonde and skinny, and they're like, "You're just
You're
like
just
her.
like, oh yeah, Dan.
You're just like Selena
Dan,
Vanderlip."
I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Dude.
I feel like I tried to like change my voice to be kind of like hers too during that era. Like, maybe I'll just. It's like a, it's like a Kardashian meets Marilyn Monroe.
It's really hard to describe what Blake Lively sounds like.
I gotta go.
But
Yeah.
you just hear it, and I was like, I would never mistake her
Right.
bizarre cadence for anything else. But
Right.
I don't know where it comes from. It's really hard to like track down and figure out where this comes from.
Ryan Reynolds is such a busy man.
Sure is.
He's got that soccer team. He's got like a business.
He is in many films and television shows.
He's Deadpool.
He's Deadpool.
And they keep needing the Deadpool to...
He keeps showing up in like every movie, and I'm like, enough, doing exactly the same thing every time. Yeah, and he's married to Blake Lively on top of all of that.
Yeah.
And they got married on a plantation.
Ew.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Mm-mm. Well, I'm glad I told you.
That's a bummer.
They both kind of went like notes app shrug apology about it.
The classic.
The classic.
We will
and previous to Blake Lively, he was married to Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, that's right. That's so right.
Pre-Deadpool.
Can you imagine
No.
your two wives in your lifetime being?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can spend a lot of time imagining.
And you do. What? Yeah, boring.
Yeah, boring.
The show.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about conflict on a television show. And you see, television shows are an engine of conflict. They run on conflict. The wood that makes the train go is hijinks, is
Choo-choo.
misunderstandings, is people not being able to process their feelings and exuding them out in wacky sort of scenarios, right? And this is why therapy is bad for television shows. Because when you get a television show where everyone is well-adjusted, actually it's very boring to watch. And I'm not talking... You can have a scene where someone goes to a therapist. Rebecca Bunch is a therapist, and I love those scenes very much. I think they're very helpful. But you get to a sort of like Ted Lasso season 3 place where you're like, there is no conflict anymore.
I haven't seen it.
It's really bad.
It won't be bad, but it won't be great.
when you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, every episode is 57 minutes long.
I can't wait.
Of Ted Lasso season 3.
I can't wait.
If you're looking for plot lines, you won't find them.
But I don't need them. I don't need them.
If you're looking for jokes, file 404, not found.
That sucks, actually.
Yeah, it's not funny anymore at all.
That's a bummer.
It's a big bummer. And also every episode is 57 minutes long.
Jokes.
And if you think you could pack those 57 minutes full of characterful conflict and resolutions and plot lines, like, say, a Gossip Girl, no. I'm sorry. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. The reason we're dancing around talking it is that, like, I don't think these 2 episodes were particularly good, and they're rehashing a lot of the stuff that we have done previously, and the show just really needs a kick in the ass.
Yeah, I liked Brittany Snow because I love her from my childhood.
She's fun, and then they do that, like, TV show plotline dating character where, like, suddenly just the beginning of one episode, they're just like, actually, I'm not super into this anymore, and you can tell by the end of this episode that we will be broken up.
Yeah. Schmidt actually had a girlfriend in New Girl. I haven't watched New Girl in
Drives
like 10 years.
me nuts on New Girl. They do it every time.
There's one, though, that now I follow on TikTok, and she's so hot, and I think she is bi.
Is it Fawn Moscato?
I don't know.
City Councilwoman Fawn Moscato?
I don't remember.
Fair
I'll
enough.
show you later. Maybe it's not even... Nope. You know what I'm thinking of?
Was it Nick?
I think I'm thinking of Parks and Rec. I think I'm thinking of
Tom Haverford?
the guy who I canceled. Yeah, I think Tom.
Oh, Rob Lowe?
No.
Well, there's multiple people. Thing about Parks and Rec, a lot of canceled guys.
Bummer.
A lot of canceled guys on that show.
The one who had Master of None.
Aziz Ansari.
I'm so proud of myself for deleting him from my brain.
Good job.
It's actually a superpower of mine.
Deleting canceled men.
Deleting men's names is like something powerful.
What's my name?
Well, I only delete the people that I cancel. So it's ex-boyfriends or shitty men or...
All my ex-boyfriends get canceled.
Not mine.
I know.
But all my friends' ex-boyfriends.
Oh, for sure.
And it's kind of my power move. Even though that's my least favorite joke of like, oh, what's his name? It's also
like they did in this episode.
Well, they didn't. It was actually dramatic irony, and you pointed it out, and then I was like, oh, right, yeah, it's not a joke, it's dramatic irony, and then I thought about it, and then they said Shakespeare, and then I, like, went down the portal.
the Shakespeare? You went in the Shakespeare portal? You're the kid in King Arthur's court?
Yeah. Oh, my God, we watched Knight's Tale, our dear listeners.
That shit ruled.
That was a good movie.
That's such a good movie.
We did a lot in
I'm
April.
so glad. Yeah, in April, you know what we did? We hung out.
We lived.
We didn't have to make content.
We lived, I loved.
I eat, I pray, I love.
Yeah, we eat, we prayed, we loved, we lived.
All
we
to
laughed,
Jesus. We love Jesus, we pray to Jesus, and we eat him.
Yeah, it was his month.
We roasted him over an open fire.
With
famously.
apple. It was so good. Just like Yellow Jackets, which I'm watching right now.
I've seen the first 2 episodes. I think it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun. It's a fun show to watch. I like it.
It's really bleak.
It's really bleak, but it's bleak, but in like a kind of fun, exciting way.
It continues to be fun. I think Yellow Jackets is doing what Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 2 is not.
Plotlines.
Plotlines and introducing new characters in ways that is important and filling roles that old characters, when old characters have left for whatever reason,
Yes.
replacing them with newer faces, they're doing a good job.
It's very important. Characters leave TV shows all the time, right? And like, and you need to fill the energy void.
Yeah, and you know you can't replace it with the same energy.
Yes.
So it is an art to choose what new energy.
It truly, truly is. Thank you for saying it.
Yeah.
That like characters leave shows all the time, and you need to fill them in, and you need like a particular element of the overall show alchemy, show dynamic. But if you sub it in with something too similar, everyone's going to be like, well, that's not Greg.
Yeah.
If they introduced a different surly bartender, like that wouldn't work. But there is sort of like there's an acidity that is missing from the show right now. And I'm sorry, the show is basic right now, which is the opposite of acidity.
Yeah. Ooh, good.
Thank you so much.
Good poll. As you're saying that, I'm realizing that's like Succession did that well. They like started introducing that like head of the tech that's supposed to be more Elon Musking as they were like phasing out Logan Roy.
Yeah.
Which was also symbolic of where media is going.
Of course. It works out really well. Spoilers for Succession.
But I realized, I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but they're one's phasing it. The show is called Succession, and
Succession has also brought in many characters in and out. You know, there was like the Logan's had many assistants and wives that I think provide a particular element to the show as well.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
It's a good show. I actually didn't like this last episode as much as the prior
Living Plus.
Living Plus. I didn't love it as much. I get what they were doing, which is interesting because I actually know one of the writers of this one, and I kind of see why, because it was theater themed, but I know him as a playwright.
Sure.
Like,
it did feel play-esque the way they were putting on the monologue and things like that.
He's been in the writing room and he's been a co-producer, but this was his, like, he and one other writer did, it was his writing credit, and
That's good.
I think it was a lot to do with, like,
I think it was well done. I like when they played Bitey.
Bitey was cute.
It's cute. Okay. Is this toxic? I like Shiv and Tom.
You know what I really need to talk about, because now this podcast is becoming a Succession podcast. It is the final season, so I'm allowed to do this. I think it's so interesting, and maybe you don't find it interesting, but I haven't been able to talk to people about it, how there's 2 Toms in the show. And there's Tom with Shiv, who's like Mr. Darcy and dark and fun and whatever. And then there's Tom and Greg. And Tom with Greg never talks to Tom with Shiv. Oh, they've never. Isn't that weird?
That's fascinating. Well,
I know
we all wear many faces.
I know, but that, like, you would think in that show there would be like some sort of like reference to it at least, or some sort of like acknowledgement.
Right. The closest we got to it was like this episode, where like, Shiv kept going out to call Alexander Skarsgård, and then Greg feels like a vestigial character at this point. Like, Greg has no more plot, but every episode Greg will like make you laugh like at least 7 times. Like that, he's just there for jokes now.
Hasn't he always been?
No, but he's had like,
I guess he's
been when they were shredding the files and things like that.
I think when they need a character to move an action along, and the rest of the characters are tied up in something emotional and important, Greg has been a very easy one to be like, we'll carry you.
Just put in Greg.
You'll do the funny thing, and then his rapport with... Because I love, even though, like, they're so fucked up, but...
Yeah, of course.
I think it's some of the best, like, dynamic writing between Greg and Tom that it's some of the best writing I've seen on TV.
It's so funny, but it's also like really complex and like layered and fucked up, and like the power dynamic is so strange.
It's so weird.
It's really well done.
It's so gay to me.
It is. No,
it is so gay. And so he's just this like super like straight, like just the way it's playing with bisexuality is so interesting to me, because it's playing into the gender roles of bisexuality in an interesting way. Like the way that he like regards Shiv is so different than how he like regards Greg, but then also like it's an unnameable. It's just so interesting. I feel like queer people will be talking about that dynamic for a while, but it's weird to me that I'm really enjoying this like really weird Tom and Shiv like stuff. I was so sick of them and was like, ew. And now it's so interesting. Like, you actually don't know how he's going to respond, and you don't know how she's going to respond anymore, because it's like day to day. And I just think it's so weird that he's also a completely it's like 2 different writers are writing him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it all still like makes sense as one character. Like, it doesn't feel like wrong, or like neither of these characters. It doesn't feel like the characters can't coexist.
I would just like, I'm so curious how Shiv would respond to like hearing Tom be this other person.
The story of the disgusting brothers. And,
yeah. Like, she heard it briefly, but like listening in on a conversation between them. Like, I'm just very curious.
Oh yeah, when
I'm sure she would be above it. She would just be like, "That's so dumb. I didn't know you were like that fucking stupid." But I'm still so curious because it's so different. Like,
yeah, but this is what we're talking about when we're talking about like what TV shows need. Like, it runs on drama. It runs on a messy engine of interpersonal conflicts and misplaced resentments, and like, we've seen Rebecca and Valencia do schemes before, or like not necessarily as much together, but like we've seen them do kind of the wacky caper. And I'm sorry, like the Brittany Snow character was just like just really felt like a filler sort of plot point.
Totally.
Like, it's just, we're going to do this for a couple episodes, and that's fine. Like, you know, you can have mini arcs and mini character presentations, but, like, it just doesn't ultimately feel like it added up to anything. And so, the first episode that we watched, where it had the whole cat hijinks, and they broke into the eyebrow salon, and they're like, oh, we have to move on from Josh. And then, like, fucking one episode later, we're, like, walking all of that back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Felt like they were stalling for time.
I liked that they at least put a song right when I was about to be like, I'm checked out. Like, right when I'm like, I'm done watching the show. Now I'm going to think about something else until the show's over.
Was it the Bonnie Tyler song?
What?
The end of the second episode where, like, it's the friend fight, and it was like, I really want to tell you
With the
that
rain.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was good.
And the curtains, yeah, which is like such a good, like, Bonnie Tyler as song written by Jim Steinman sort of pastiche. It's really good.
I really liked Brittany Snow's little song because I was obsessed with her Hairspray. It reminded me of her Hairspray performance.
Of course.
And also, like, Pitch Perfect, but this is returning to her, like, mean girl role. And
As opposed to her very likable every woman in John Tucker Must Die.
I love John Tucker Must Die. Oh my god. Was she supposed to be the dorky girl that she was? That's so stupid.
I'm sorry, I have been grinding this axe for like 13 years. Is that, like, Brittany Snow is supposed to be like the plain girl in John Tucker Must Die,
sense.
and they do nothing to plane her up.
Nothing.
Like, we
No
all
glasses.
make fun of the glasses and the ponytail thing,
Yeah.
but, like, you gotta do something. She's Brittany Snow, and she's like, yeah, I'm not much to look at.
Yeah. And, like, that
John Tucker
cast was hot, but, like, she was also, like, the most stereotypically, like, beauty standard of the time.
Yes. Like, if
It's like putting Rachel McAdams from Mean Girls, playing Regina George, in that role.
it's like
it's just...
literally a Barbie out of a box
Yeah.
is what Brittany Snow, like, resembles. You know what I mean?
I was watching this, you don't care about it, but I was watching this reality show, Selling Sunset, but they have a version that's in the OC. And in real life, Brittany Snow's...
Selling the OC.
Selling the... Yeah. And that is what it's
I've been
called.
watching the OC.
Oh, yeah.
Not selling the OC. I've just
Oh my
been
God,
watching
wait,
the television show The OC.
I watched the OC during the pandemic. I watched it during
What a
top
good show.
surgery. It's really good.
What a good show. Same creator as Gossip Girl. Did
It
you know
is.
this? Josh
I did.
Schwartz.
I've listened to podcasts and stuff.
Schwartz?
Yeah. There's an
He had something.
OC podcast I think you would like with Rachel Bilson. I bet you
They
really...
advertise it to me before every episode of the OC.
Oh.
They're like, you should really listen to those podcasts.
Oh, I didn't really...
On HBO Max, so it must be like an official HBO Max sort of podcast.
It didn't used to be. I listened to
Wow.
it when, like, nobody really knew about it.
Is it like an episode by episode kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like The Office Ladies? I bet that's interesting.
There's also a musical that our dear friend Jace... Hi, Jace.
Hi, Jace.
Our friend Jace's, like, entire theater troupe was in this post-apocalyptic Oscar Wilde musical opera in Bushwick.
In Bushwick, you say. that production's
And how does this relate? Well, their post-apocalyptic cult decided to center their deity to Julie Cooper, the mom from the OC that wears all juicy. So there's a song that's like, Julie, how did you know? And then they, like, belt as high as they possibly can. Julie! And it's like, how the fuck? And she knows about it because...
How could you not?
she heard about it through, like, oh my god, and then Sandy Cohen, the hottest dad in the whole fucking world.
What a hot dad,
That
dude.
dad is so
Peter
hot.
Gallagher.
That dad brought, like, a straight sexuality from, like, the depths of my body. Like, it
100%.
just, oh my
I
god.
mean, they were talking about famous eyebrows in this episode. They cited Eugene Levy, but Peter Gallagher. Peter Gallagher, eyebrows of the fucking century.
Ah, man. Yeah, I used to talk about
He's
those.
got a great smooth voice too.
Oh my God,
and on
yeah.
that show he's playing such like a softie. He's like, I used to be a troubled kid like you, and I'm gonna take care of you.
And his wife is so boring. She does no favors
she's
to help
not
him.
interesting, though.
He does all the work. Yeah.
And I understand that you need conflict, but it's just it's not working.
No. Yeah, the flop performances of that show are like
Are tremendous.
like the lead guy That mom.
You don't like Ben McKenzie?
He's cute.
I think he does what he needs to do.
I think
He's doing what is required of Ryan or whatever.
He does what needs to be done. Though I don't find him to be like, well, I guess, like in Dawson's Creek, I didn't really find either dude to be that hot. I don't find like the OC guy to be like that hot. And as we were saying,
were you more into Adam Brody?
Yeah, which we said last pod. Like,
oh, did we really?
Adam Brody. I didn't know you were watching the OC.
The thing I only recently just started, because I'm going to be on an OC podcast, and I got to get boned up, just on like one episode. But, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, so I gotta get, and I'm not like super familiar with the show, so I'm like watching it through.
Send me the link.
100%. I think it might be a paywalled show, but it's the paywalled version of The Lonely Boys, which is the Gossip Girl podcast that I have been on and will be on again.
Love that.
Yeah, it's great. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm gonna be on the anyway. I think Ben McKenzie on the OC does a pretty solid job. He's more interesting to me than the boring characters on Gossip Girl.
Totally.
I think he's giving more than
he's way better than Nate
Archibald.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
he's the Nate. Yeah.
He's the Nate, but he's doing way more than Nate.
We don't have a Chuck though, but I guess maybe Summer is sort of the Chuck. I don't know.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, Chuck Bass is such an interesting character. A completely insane performance.
So weird.
Yeah.
It's very serial killer.
Blair. Like, he's just like, he whispers every line.
Yeah, it's really weird.
But it works.
Yeah.
And also, like, the first thing that character does on that show is, like, try and rape a 14-year-old. But, like, we all, like, love Chuck Bass. It's, like, it's so crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, in the pilot, he's just pure, straight up, like, evil, rich douchebag.
Oh my god.
I know.
Wow.
And you'll be like, I'm never going to come around on this guy. And then you keep watching Gossip Girl and you're like, fuck. God damn it.
That's crazy. Yeah, pilots sometimes throw things and then they just leave.
Because they don't know. They don't know what they have until they cast Ed Westwick.
Right. Yeah. I think I forgot in Succession that I guess in the pilot Ronan has like a wife and kids and they just like wrote them out.
I remember him having a girlfriend back then. Wow. Oh yeah, they probably just like say it. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. And like you can't imagine the Roman that exists now having a wife and children.
No, one thing I was surprised
because he famously can't get it up.
One thing I was surprised about in the Succession episode, spoiler. I don't know when it's going to not be a spoiler. But, you know, whatever. You've gotten this far in the pod.
Yeah, whatever.
Ronan fires Carrie, and I don't know why he didn't reference that she had already been fired. And he had already been fired by his dad. Like, the argument being like, my dad already fired you. You're not on this kill list, but it was literally that day. We had this conversation at the wedding.
Oh.
That was the only plot hole that I feel like wasn't, like, resolved.
That's right. He was going to do that. I just, you know what? So much has happened since
so
then.
much happened.
Just, like, completely...
Really good stuff.
Completely forgot about it. Anyway, it's a good show. And right now they're airing it back-to-back with Barry, which I know is not your show.
It might
but
eventually be.
Fucking... Barry's on fire.
You know what?
Barry speaks to me in a very special way.
You know what I might do, though?
What?
And this is kind of crazy.
Start killing people for money?
Oh, that might be more
like
fun.
Barry.
That actually might be
more
fun.
Watching Barry.
Then my idea, which was I was going to say that I might start reading books.
Fascinating.
But killing people for money it sounds a lot more compelling.
Certainly more of a, in the cost-benefit relation, you'll probably start cleaning up.
Reading. Hard. Long. Boring. Killing people for money.
I love books. I'm a big fan. What is spurring on this desire to read?
Because I had like a little boundary that like I wasn't going to pressure myself to read books this last year of working on my thesis because I already... with dyslexia, had to overcome much reading.
No, that's very logical.
And so I just took it off my shoulders to take on anybody's suggestion for the last year or more of suggested reading. And so now I don't have an excuse anymore. So I'm catching up. And right now I'm reading a very sexy, cool, fun trans book that's very poetic and very hard to like find the plot, but very beautiful. And then after that I'm going to be reading, I think they're like horror ghost stories, and one of them is like The Woman with the Green Ribbon, but it's like more erotic, longer version of it.
Interesting.
And that story haunted me as a kid. Yeah, so I will be reading books.
I love books.
But
I read them all the time.
I'll probably still be watching a fuck ton of TV.
Well, it's about balance.
It's about balance.
It's a completely unrealistic expectation to go like, and now I'm done watching trash TV. It's like, no. You're never going to do that, and you're going to miss it if you don't engage with it at all.
Yeah.
So, but you might be engaging with it less while you read more. And
I'm caught up to all of my absolute garbage. So, like, and I really, like, finished the actually, oh my god, I loved, this might be the reality TV show you like. I don't think you would love it. You would probably watch like an episode of it and be like, nah, it wasn't bad. Alan Cumming plays the host.
The Traitors.
It's so good.
Yeah, my roommate and his boyfriend love it.
It was so good and fucked up, but in a fun way, but in a fucked up way. But then you're like, but this is TV. You're fine. This is fine.
This is a controlled environment where people knew what they were signing up for in theory. It can still be very manipulative.
In a way, yeah.
In a way.
There's a lot of controversy around Love is Blind right now in the Love is Blind universe, and like,
oh wow,
lawsuits starting and and non-for-profits starting that are basically unionizing.
And Netflix not playing that live finale.
They did eventually.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, but that added fuel to the like anti-production team fire. Mm-hmm. What's going on with WGA? I haven't paid attention.
I do not believe a strike was approved. There was a theoretical strike that was building up to that got like a good turnout for we should put this over to a vote, if I remembering correctly. And the strike is about a number of things. It's a strike that needs to happen in every part of the entertainment industry, because now, we seem to be forsaking the old broadcast television model, the old methods of distribution of media. Most people are not buying physical media. And so now, and between that and TV shows and movies not playing in syndication on cable, or certainly not for the same amount of money, everyone in the entertainment industry is suffering, because actually most people make their living off of residuals. For our audience, a residual is like every time they play an episode of Friends on television, the cast of Friends gets a check. Right. Or that gets added to a very large check for them. But good enough for them, Friends is always playing on television, so they're getting that check. The It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is always playing on television. Yeah. They are getting a nice check from that. Everyone receives basically no residuals in the streaming model from any major streaming platform.
Right.
And because of this, people are suffering, because you, as an actor, used to, okay, I booked a gig, I booked some episodes, and now every time this episode plays, or I have a small part in this movie, every time somebody watches it on an airplane, I get a check. That doesn't exist anymore. So, and because actors are freelance labor, and writers, it's the same thing, is they are not getting the residuals that they need, that streaming services could obviously provide, but because it has not been legally mandated for them, they have not been doing so. But I believe the strike was shot down.
Would it be advocating for some form of residuals, or was it some sort of... Okay.
Yes,
cool.
The Writers Guild was wanting to get residuals for the people who wrote the scripts for things that are on streaming services. It is a strike that needed to happen. Famously, the last full-on WGA strike was the 2007 writer's strike, where they were striking over residuals for online rentals on things like iTunes.
Interesting.
And this strike was actually going to happen in like 2020. Like, they were building this up and bubbling, and it was getting going. Obviously, the industry shut down for a huge period of time.
Wait, walk me through.
They were lazy.
Oh, okay.
They were sleepy, and they didn't want to make TV shows and movies anymore. In 2020.
Yeah, burnout.
Trump's America. They were just tired.
Global burnout. And so that obviously shot. And then when things started picking up again and people started getting staffed and writing again, people were just thankful to have a job. Yeah.
So they weren't looking for more, but then it was building back up. But yes, today is when a strike would have started. But I believe it has not.
I think what's like not embarrassing, just a different lifestyle choice for me, is that that was me like positive self-talking out loud, is that I've only been getting like my knowledge of this through movie set meme pages that like make fun of, and so
our
I'm like,
modern day times, the news of the modern day town square.
So I'm like, oh, like looks like gigs are hard for freelancers right now.
Sure is.
But I don't know because I'm not doing that grind.
Right, and yeah, you don't need to be like completely dialed into that. That's okay. As someone who's not participating in that, I'm not union. I'm not really participating in that, but I perhaps hope to one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going on, and that's the latest as of when we recorded this episode, which will be uploaded to Patreon next week, and then the public feed 2 weeks from now. So anything could be changed by then.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Great.
This has been your news cycle.
This has been your news cycle. Obviously, we're very into the 2 episodes of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend that we just watched, which is why we have discussed them for a total of 35 seconds over the course of these episodes. It's fine. I do kind of like the resolution of the Rebecca Paula fight.
Yeah.
In the second episode.
No, that was
I
good.
think that is like the way an adult fight might resolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of like, you know what, circumstances changed, shit got fucked, like, I'm sorry, let's figure this out, I'm here to support you. And I think that's nice, and I think that's wholesome. And Rebecca is traditionally exceptionally careless and self-centered, but it was nice.
Yeah, it is also starting to slowly build, not slowly, it's been going on the whole time, but the consequences of Rebecca being so like narcissistic are starting to be more and more apparent, of like, you didn't think about the kid, or like the girl who never speaks saying like, you're like Narcissus at the water. So like it's intentional that every like exterior character that hasn't even interacted with her is starting to call her like, that's really selfish. That's what we're like, maybe we wouldn't interpret it that way before, but now we have no option but to be like, oh, she's being selfish, so we can't like interpret, we can't rationalize for her anymore either. She's like not allowing for that in the terms of as the writer of the character.
Yeah, and once the characters around her start pointing all this out, it becomes impossible for the audience to like continue to allow it, because we are starting to see the reciprocal damage. Whereas like a different TV show could get away with this for 9 seasons if they did it in a different way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but once you start acknowledging like the casualties, once you start acknowledging the human damage that you were causing, you cannot walk that line back. It does break that mold of the show. And so now we're continuing to watch hijinks, but we're less and less sympathetic to Rebecca while it's happening. And, you know, it gets, we're talking about it. We're locked in this cycle. I do like the Mrs. Hernandez thing that you just mentioned that I had forgotten about, where she does speak. And she speaks well, and it was only because we're watching this, because this show is Rebecca's lens on the world, that like she has not been speaking up until now because Rebecca has not been listening to her. And also the Mrs. Hernandez thing is like borderline stereotype, like silent minority character thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that a lot. So I'm glad we can finally like break from that. It's okay.
Yeah, I think also I thought, I don't know, maybe I misunderstood it, or just the way, but that like Paula's been talking to her the whole time.
Exactly.
And like
everyone else has been talking to her, and in fact she's probably talked in relation to Rebecca before, and Rebecca
that was an interesting thing to me. I was like, well, like, did she just not, I don't know, I thought it was a good use of fiction in a world where they sing. I also noticed Rebecca start to sing, which you pointed out, like she never sings breaking the plot. It's always...
She never sings diegetically.
But she did a bit.
She did a little bit.
She did a little bit at the
Starting
bit.
to leak out.
Yeah.
What is reality? What is fiction?
I thought Paula's kid was funny. Wonder if they couldn't pay
for 2 child actors.
For 2 child actors that day.
And it would be like, it's difficult. It's the same reason that like every Disney character has like one parent. And it's like, well, if we don't need both for the plot, like, why draw 2 parents? Parents are expensive to animate. Like, we'll just have one. We only need one.
That's funny. I never realized that was why. I always wondered why.
Yeah. And people are like, God, I mean, like, the same right-wing people that we brought up before are like, it's a conspiracy to undermine the traditional family. Oh. Which is a very funny thing to say about Disney, because they are the most traditional family, like, layered company of all time.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's why there aren't two parents in, like, Beauty and the Beast, because, like, they only need the one for the plot, and, like, costs money to animate every character that you see. It takes time, it takes effort, so, like, if we don't need Mom, don't fucking draw her.
Yeah, I never made that connection, and I just had a flashback of us watching VeggieTales.
on Easter, we were watching the Easter Bunny special of VeggieTales.
Yeah, that was dark. When you were saying traditional, like, family things in Disney, I was like, what would go further? And then I was like, VeggieTales, and then I had a flashback. That
Dark times.
Fucking watched. And we almost watched it for a bit. We almost looped it, and then it was just so bad. And, like, the animation quality was so terrible.
Yeah.
My child brain accepted crumbs in terms of content.
Children will accept such fucking bullshit garbage. It's, like, unbelievable.
Yeah. I was like, I thought I was better than this. At least Shrek holds up as I look up at my Shrek poster. Mm-hmm. Look how beautiful that poster
Nothing
is.
wrong with Shrek.
Yeah, that's the thing. What would you change about Shrek?
About Shrek?
In a 2023 lens.
That's an excellent question. I feel like there's probably some cross-dressing jokes about the big bad wolf. That would maybe be something that I would change.
That makes sense.
You know, I haven't watched Shrek in well over 10 years, so, like, my memory of what is in Shrek is pretty foggy at this point.
That's fair. That's totally
I don't
fair.
have any immediate notes for Shrek. I liked Shrek 2 when I was a kid. But I watched Shrek 3 in theaters in the year 2007, and I said, this stinks. And I haven't watched any Shrek movies since then.
Too. You were also in high school, so
Indeed.
that was...
Oh, yeah, I was like 15. That's like the anti-Shrek period, you know what I mean? That's where you, like, stray from Shrek. When I was a child, when I was no longer a child, I put away childish things, like Shrek and his friend Donkey.
In the post-Shrek cultural landscape theology, straying from Shrek is definitely a phase.
I think it's a natural part of the human animal.
Of the ethnography.
Yeah,
of
it's
Shrek.
described in Freud's psychoanalysis of, like, we long to return to the mother and we stray from the Shrek along the way.
The mother is the swamp.
The mother is this. We must leave our swamp so that we may return
To our swamp.
to our swamp.
Anew.
Exactly. And it's the hero's journey.
Shrek is the hero's journey.
Shrek is the hero. I mean, that's it's probably a pretty rigid following of the hero's journey, to be quite honest with you. Because at first he doesn't want to do the quest.
Correct.
But then they dumped all those fairy tale creatures on his swamp.
I always forget about, like, why he's questing by the time
He
he's
just wants people off his lawn.
Yeah. And I get that. But I think as a kid, I didn't really get, like, why people quested the way they quested.
As a kid, I didn't need a reason.
Yeah.
You're like, he's gonna go quest. That's great. That's what I want to watch.
Like Lord of the Rings, it's like, there's a ring, got it. But, like, when you watch it as an adult, you're like, it's more than that, isn't it? There's more.
There's more. There's like a personal journey tied
Yeah.
up in this. Interesting. There's like a lot of race reasons that this is happening, and in the way that it's happening.
Do you like... Yes, we've talked about Lord of the Rings.
Listen, those movies are really good. I don't care about the books at all.
Okay.
I don't care about the wider universe. I think there's like a video game that's pretty fun.
Oh.
But those three movies are like... They're just unbelievable pieces of filmmaking on every single level. And we've discussed this, I think, on this very podcast.
We did,
previously.
yeah. I know.
You're the one that listens to it, so... You tell me what we've said before.
No, you don't even really edit it, though.
No, I do. I sit there and I edit the whole thing. I take out pauses and I adjust volume.
Really?
Yeah. I piece through the whole thing.
So you also listen to it at least once.
In a way.
Yeah,
Longer than you do, actually.
definitely. Well, you don't know that.
I guess unless you're listening to it on, like, half speed and stopping every few seconds to, like...
I mean, sometimes I listen to it multiple times.
Fair enough.
I go scrub back to be like, was that funny? And then I'm like, that was funny.
Oh, I'm so glad. So glad you had this revelation.
I listen to it and I feel lonely.
Yeah, you're giving notes on the audio.
Yeah, I like to pretend that we're famous.
Maybe we are. We
No,
don't know.
I think it's enough for me, actually. I think it's exactly what it needs to be.
Creation has to be its own reward.
I used to hate the sound of my own voice. Maybe this is like a testosterone thing. It's not that I love it. I just find...
No, everyone hates the sound of their own voice.
Some people love it. Like, they talk so much because they love it.
Well, you know, we say, like, we love to hear the sound of our own voice, but, like, when they hear, like, the first time, you know, like, a camcorder is shoved in their face, and then we play that back, and then people are like, is that what I fucking sound like? That sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has that experience. I have edited thousands of hours of my own voice at this point, so, like, I know what I sound like.
Yeah.
I think I'm annoying, but it's not because of my voice. I have to work in Manhattan tomorrow. Should we
supposed-
wrap this thing up?
I'm supposed to be working right now.
Oh, yeah. You're on the clock.
I'm on the clock. No, I'm not. I would never do that. I would never clock in and record my own podcast.
That would be disgusting of you.
That would be a capitalist crime because then I'd be paid, what, $20 for this podcast? That's fucked.
That'd be fucked up. That'd be crazy. Before we wrap up, any thoughts about the many ideas around weight in this episode?
Yeah.
Anything you want to share?
Is there anything you want to share?
Not particularly. It's just it's a thing that really strikes you.
Yeah.
And I want to give you the microphone to say
Sure.
anything if you want to say anything. Also,
I
if
just
you
thought
don't
it
want
was.
to say anything.
I just thought it was annoying. I thought it was annoying the way Rebecca was like, "I'm gonna sit you down and teach you about body dysmorphia or dysphoria that you're experiencing."
Whereas, like, every episode of the show is like people making fat jokes about Rebecca.
Yeah, and her about
And-
herself.
Right, yes, of course.
It was just like, but I at this point
Layers to this.
I'm what you've described as like we as an audience don't have to like love Rebecca anymore.
Yes.
So like
We're in a bad spot with Rebecca. I will love Rebecca again.
sure, but like when she like monologues about like feminism and stuff,
Yeah.
like I can start to find it annoying now
Yeah.
because
And that's okay.
and patronizing is the word I would say.
And then, she's nobody's favorite character is the protagonist.
I thought Valencia's performance was really good.
Yes, I think it was a really funny performance. Everyone...
She's getting funny.
She's getting funny. I think they found like a fun angle on this character, letting her be funny, letting her be more of kind of like a fleshed out thing as opposed to like a very standard romantic comedy type character. And then, our heavy hitters, our Heather, our White
Always.
Josh, when you call them off the bench,
Ugh.
they're gonna take it to the hole.
Yeah. They know how to sell it.
They know how to sell. They know how to, they make so much of their pithy observations.
I completely missed when, like, Josh was assigned to do a fashion show. Missed that plot entirely. So
I don't
when
know if they
started
really set it up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Or we were talking about something.
We did comment when he walked down. We were like, I saw that in Bushwick yesterday.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. We were like, this fashion is, like, I saw that on the street.
It was so
That's
ugly
normal
for
now.
Brittany in Silver Lake, but I promise you, Brittany today in Silver Lake, you see that shit walking down the street.
Say that thing on the thing.
Every
and
day.
She says, hubby. Josh posted a picture of soup on the grid.
The whole thing was stupid.
What's going on here? You're posting soup on Maine, Josh.
You're like, I would never post soup on man. And I was like, really? I feel like you would.
You really think I would, and I don't.
I think you would. I didn't realize how curated, how much thought you put into your grid, because you do like TikToks of like, this is Jerry Maguire 1, and this is Jerry Maguire as a book, and this is Jerry Maguire as
Jerry Maguire the book, yeah.
and this is Jerry Maguire.
You should read the novelization of Jerry Maguire in your
I'll put
quest
that on
to
my
read books.
list. Yeah, if you have like a series of seemingly specific things that you put on memes. So soup.
It's not a choice. I just don't. I love posting on the story.
Yeah.
I'm a big story poster.
But grid is different.
Grid,
Okay.
I don't. I'm like, it does have to be something that like I think people should see.
Okay. People,
You don't have to agree with what I think people should see.
I don't need to. I think it's interesting because I feel like people watch my stories way more than they look at my feed based on my
100%.
algorithm.
100%.
Yeah, but also the feed is, or the grid is really just for me to, it's a scrapbook at this point. Unless I really have to like promote something.
Instagram is the scrapbook of the.
Oh, it's May 1st, so I'm going to put a new grid post up probably today.
Wow! Congratulations.
After I do my paid job that I need to do.
That's amazing. Will it even still be May 1st at that point?
Probably not.
It might be May 2nd. Well, I have to go home
Please.
and prepare my
Get out of here.
meal for tomorrow.
Run.
No, I won't run. I'll be carrying a tripod. I know, I'm sorry.
Weight training. Endurance.
It's not a heavy... I have a heavy tripod that I guess I could use as some sort of weight training.
Triathlon.
Picking up a new monopod from B&H Photo Video this week. We're all very excited about things that are happening in my life.
Is a monopod just a stick?
There's more going on, but it's a very malleable stick, essentially, yes.
But mono.
Yeah, mono mean one.
Yeah.
Mono mean one. Yes,
Yeah.
so does one leg.
Yeah.
Adjustable leg in height can do sideways very well.
Which is pan.
Well, not this way.
That's pan.
Can
Up and down. That's tilt.
That's tilt. That's very good.
You're welcome, listeners.
That's film school. Why go to film school when you can listen to us?
And my Instagram is CatScottOnline. And I made a video game. And I defended my thesis. And
That's true.
I will plug my site and stuff when it's up eventually. But for now, just
Just
lurk.
keep listening.
Yeah.
Just
listen
work.
and lurk.
You better work, bitch.
Work, listen, lurk.
That's right. Maybe one day we'll talk about Girls in Entourage. We don't know.
Yeah.
Life's full of crazy things.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
I'm not.
Jesus H. Christ.
Take the wheel.
Oh, there
Take it from
was a part.
my hand.
Oh, never mind.
What?
It was Captain Crunch that I was thinking of, but her last name was Bunch, and she said her middle name was N, and so I thought it was
N Crunch.
she could be Cap'n Crunch, but then I realized it was Cap'n Bunch,
Cap'n Bunch.
just now.
But that's Cap'n Bunch is still good.
Yeah,
It's very similar.
it's similar, but I was really excited in the moment. I was like, oh my god, her name could be
my
Cap'n
God.
Crunch, that's why she put the N there, but now I'm like, no, you're just dyslexic. Anyway, that's the button. Doop!
We used to be there for each other every second.
With one emoji, we could read each other's soul.
But since we've been apart,
There's an aching in my heart.
it's an aching that no cocktail can control.
And I really want to tell you that I'm sorry. And I really want to tell you that I am the worst. And I just want to say I miss you every day. And I will, but you go first.
I mean, this is almost entirely all my fault here. But you gotta admit, it's just a tiny bit your fault too.
This is so all on me, but still you kinda have to agree that sometimes you can be really
Passive-aggressive.
self-involved. So go ahead and say you're kinda sorry, so I can say, oh no, please, just like I rehearsed. If you open the door, I'll apologize so much more. Yes, I will. But you go